The month of Ramadan, my favorite time of the year and also an interesting time from a fitness perspective. Ramadan fasting involves a food and water fast from the break of dawn until sunset. I received many questions from my Muslim followers about how to best approach your training and nutrition during the month of Ramadan, so that is something I will discuss in today's video. There's a lot of good research on how Ramadan impacts your health and how we can structure our fitness approach to keep progressing during this month. Being fit and strong is also encouraged in the faith of Islam. So a healthy form of exercise is definitely nice to have as a part of your Ramadan experience. Now, the biggest concern I have heard from people around me and the clients that I train that engage in Ramadan is that they worry about losing muscle mass throughout this month of fasting. But if we look at the research, muscle loss does not have to be a concern. One 2019 research review analyzed 12 studies on the effects of Ramadan on body composition. The researchers found that if you continue training during Ramadan, you're able to maintain muscle perfectly fine. This is supported by numerous other research papers. So despite the fact that you have a long fasting window during Ramadan, you don't have to worry about losing muscle as long as you have good nutrition and hydration during your feeding window. We will dive into nutrition later in today's video. The fact that Ramadan doesn't have to result in muscle loss also makes sense if we think about it. Ramadan fasting, in essence, can be seen as a form of intermittent fasting, with the only difference being during Ramadan you do not drink water during the fast. If we look at intermittent fasting research on individuals that still lift weights, we again see that you maintain muscle perfectly fine even if you have long fasting periods, as long as you are consistent in training, get enough daily protein, and avoid a chronically low calorie intake. So the idea that fasting will always make you lose muscle is a myth. You have control over how your body responds to the fasting. If you commit to still training well and also nourish your body, your muscle gains can continue to happen. I have coached dozens of clients that engaged in Ramadan over the past 7 years, and we have always been able to make great progress if we commit to the process. I personally also engage in Ramadan every year and come out of it feeling even fitter than before. And if I can do it, you can definitely do it. The key question is, of course, whether you train before or after Iftar. The benefit of training before Iftar is that you can eat and hydrate right after training. You then also have the entire evening to focus on your prayers and quality time with the family. While the benefit of training after Iftar is that you might be able to train a bit harder since you had something to eat pre-workout and can also hydrate during your training session. If we look at actual research by Trebelsi and colleagues that compare training before and after Iftar, we see that fat loss and muscle growth is similar whether you train fasted or fed during Ramadan. So I would mostly let your personal preference and schedule determine whether you train before or after Iftar. One thing to consider when you train fasted is that there is a dehydration risk. So if you do decide to train fasted, I would suggest training 1 to 2 hours before Iftar so that shortly after your workout you're able to hydrate. With that said, the human body is resilient. Even if you train earlier in the day, you will typically recover just fine. But ideally, we do time our workouts somewhere around Iftar so we can quickly nourish the body. Next to workout timing, it is also worth looking into how intensely we train during Ramadan. Ramadan is of course a month with a spiritual focus in which we typically also have more family time. Based on the research, it is also quite common for sleeping patterns to be impacted during Ramadan. Considering the fact that you spend more time on your faith, family, have less sleep, and also need to stay productive at work, it makes sense to maintain a more realistic training program during Ramadan. This month is not the time to have your most intense workout routine. In fact, research recommends decreasing your training volume by about 25% during Ramadan. Your workout and recovery capabilities are slightly lower due to the longer fasting periods. So it then only makes sense to also reduce training volume to still properly recover between each workout. To give you a practical example, outside of Ramadan, I typically train 4 times per week using an upper-lower split. During Ramadan, I will be scaling back to 3 weekly workouts, training 3 full body sessions. This allows me to reduce my training volume by about 25% while still training all major compound movements. I have a video about a complete 3-day full body routine that you can check out in the description of this video. Also, if you train fasted, I would typically recommend training in a more moderate rep range of 8 to 15 repetitions per set. Because while being slightly dehydrated, we want to avoid doing heavy 1 or 3 rep maxes since the injury risk is higher in this case. If you have a powerlifting focus and do want to train heavy, I would suggest to time your heavy workouts on the training days in which you train after Iftar. Now, as mentioned, there's a ton of research showing that you can still improve your physical fitness during Ramadan. But the contingency here to consider is of course that you also need good nutrition. There are 4 main nutrition variables to consider during Ramadan for good nourishment. First, we need to get enough calories. Since we have long fasting periods during Ramadan, it is often easier to eat fewer calories and be in a calorie deficit. But we want to make sure our calories are not too low either, so your body still has fuel for recovery in between your workouts. You can definitely aim to maintain the calorie deficit during Ramadan for fat loss, but avoid your calories being lower than 75% of your usual maintenance calorie intake. Secondly, we need enough protein. Since you have a narrow feeding window, it might be more difficult at times to consume enough daily protein. We still want to aim for at least 1.6 grams per kilogram of your body weight in protein during Ramadan to support muscle development. I personally consume a protein shake later in the evening after the Tarawih prayer to help me supplement my protein intake during Ramadan. Thirdly, we also still need to consume fruits and vegetables to get vitamins and minerals in. It is easy to skip over your fruits if there are a lot of tasty Ramadan treats on the table. You can definitely enjoy a nice treat or two to also not insult one of your family members if they prepare something nice for you, but also aim to have a daily fruit-based snack during Ramadan to get your fiber, vitamins and minerals in. And lastly, of course, we need proper hydration. Since you do not drink water for a large part of the day, we have to be extra mindful of hydration during the feeding window. A scientifically validated way to see whether you are properly hydrated is the urine color chart. Before you go to bed in your feeding window at night, make sure your urine color is within the hydrated ranges. I like to keep a water bottle at hand during the feeding window to promote proper hydration. A last bonus tip I want to give you is how to design the last meal of the day or the suhoor meal that you have right before dawn. Since this is the last meal before you start the fast, we can benefit from having slow-absorbing foods in this meal. During suhoor, aim to consume slow-absorbing proteins like dairy, eggs, or a beef type, combined with slow-absorbing carbohydrates like whole grains or starchy vegetables. These slow-absorbing foods will take a longer time to digest, and that helps you feel more energized throughout your fasting period. I like to consume oats mixed with fruit, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and casein protein for my suhoor meal. Of course, everyone's Ramadan experience is different, and the focus during Ramadan is definitely not maximizing muscle gains. But still, I hope that with the tips discussed in today's video, you have some science-based action points that you can apply if you have the goal of improving your physical fitness during Ramadan. Let's make this a blessed Ramadan and focus on helping those in need. And that was it for today's video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you found this video helpful, then leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video.